Alright MMA fans, what's going on? Let's have a serious talk about UFC Fight Night 80. That fight between Rose Namajunas and Paige Vanzant, we're gonna have to say was not expected, but completely expected. We expected a main event fight that was gonna put people in the seats and actually pay attention to the strawweight division. And Vanzant and Namajunas put on that fight. That fight brought a lot of eyes to the strawweight division. That was supposed to be a highlight fight for Paige Vanzant. But Rose Namajunas beat her on the feet, beat her on the ground from round 1 all the way to round 5 with the rear naked choke to finish the fight. The surprising part is how bad she beat Paige Vanzant throughout that whole entire fight. It seemed like Paige Vanzant didn't even belong in the same cage as her. Rose Namajunas blew Paige Vanzant out of the water, just everywhere. It didn't even seem like Paige Vanzant had been training with Team Alpha Male to take that fight, which is a wrestling-heavy type of camp. And throughout the whole entire fight, we're going to have to say Paige Vanzant probably had half of a takedown. Throughout most of the fight, Paige Vanzant was winging her shots, throwing wild shots, and Rose Namajunas picked her apart on the feet with counters, straight jabs, and then combos into the clinch to the takedowns. It was just a piece of technical MMA artwork from whichever camp that Rose Namajunas comes from or whatever Pat Barry's teaching her. So with this win for Rose Namajunas, this basically puts her back in the spotlight in the strawweight division where she was originally supposed to be in the first place. Is she going to be the next female fighter to headline a non-title UFC fight? Probably not, especially with the UFC losing the gamble big with Paige Vanzant in this one. We all know why, people. I mean, Rose Namajunas, as you just saw, is not lacking in skill. Or maybe the UFC might call ours and other people's bluff and actually let Rose Namajunas headline a UFC card. But let's all be serious here, MMA fans. Paige Vanzant was supposed to be the strawweight it girl that was supposed to fill in even a portion of the gap that Ronda Rousey just left after recently being beat at UFC 193. And this is just one of those situations where the UFC puts all their eggs in one basket and it ends up hurting them in the end when they hype one type of fighter. We're not saying that Paige Vanzant's fighting style or accomplishment so far does not warrant hype, but apparently they weren't paying attention to the other fighters in that division based on looks. So with Joanna Jędrzejczyk already booked to fight Claudia Gadelha, it looks like the last person that they're waiting for to see who's going to be the next title contender is Tecia Torres, as she fights on UFC 194. And if she puts on a good enough performance, maybe she would actually get a chance to fight Rose Namajunas for that title contender shot, especially since she's pretty much already deserved it. I mean, she's been beating both Rose Namajunas and Paige Vanzant, so with this fight going in Namajunas' favor, it would only make sense. Because we're gonna say there's not much reasoning and there was not much thinking to it, as really there's no one else around that strawweight division that's ready for that title shot. I mean, Michelle Waterson is injured, and this is basically the strawweight division's title picture as of right now. But we're gonna have to ask you fans, did you see this type of fight coming for Paige Vanzant, or anything that just happened between Rose Namajunas and Paige Vanzant at UFC Fight Night 80? Because we're gonna have to say a lot of us did it, so hit us with your comments, hit us with your suggestions, tell us what you think, leave us a comment, because we're all pretty much stunned over here. But this is G here with MMA Hype Watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe.